everybody, I'm here with a summer favorites video. I know I haven't done a favorites video in a while. I used to try to do them monthly, but I haven't done one in a while, so I thought I would do like a summer favorites type video. Now, I'm going to start with decks and books and things, and then I'm going to kind of move on to like miscellaneous type stuff. So if you're just here for the more woo-woo stuff, that's going to be kind of more at the beginning. But I'm going to show you a little bit of vloggy stuff too. So hopefully you'll stick around for the rest of the video. But you know, whatever floats your boat, it's all good with me. So let's start with the decks. So I hadn't gotten new decks in a while, but this summer I feel like I've gotten like a few. I've had a little flurry of like buying some new decks. I kind of go in waves with this, where there'll be a while where I don't buy new decks, and then there'll be a while where I'm inspired to buy some. So it also depends too on like what comes out, because I find now that I have a large collection, I'm a little fussier about like what I put into the collection. And in fact, I know I keep saying this, but I really want to go through and just kind of sort through the decks I want to keep and the decks that I want to, you know, either sell or give away. But anyway, that's another video for another day. Let's start with the first one I want to talk about is the Enchanted Earth Oracle. So I picked this up last month in July. I saw it on Lisa Pappas Does Hot Takes, and I find that I'll see stuff on there and then I'm like, oh, that one looks pretty good. This one is a rock pool deck. My only complaint about it is that it's only 36 cards, and that's something that I've noticed I'm seeing more commonly now, is decks that are smaller. And I do understand the costs have gone up, but I would rather pay a little more to get a full deck than to only get a deck with 36 cards. Now, these cards are beautiful, like they're gorgeous. I just wish there was a little more of them. So I feel like Rock Pool has really stepped up their game. Like the box is really nice, really beautiful. Opens up like this. Look at that. It's beautiful, right? And that's the inside there. Even the inside cover, really great. You've got your little ribbon here. You've got a full color guidebook. It's got like, yeah, full color page here. Beautiful. Great job. Looks really good. But the star of the show, of course, is the cards, right? And these, you know, I'm loving the cardstock on this. I have to say, I'm not a big fan of like super thick cardstock, but I don't want it super thin either. And I don't like matte cardstock. I think I've said that over and over again. This has the glossy cardstock. It's a little bit of shine there, which I know is not everyone's favorite with camera, but I find they're easier to shuffle. They're easier to pick up. And so I read for people. And so when it comes to actually practically reading for others, I find that the glossy cardstock is so much better. These cards are just gorgeous. They're beautiful. Like the backs, beautiful. I actually feel like this is more of a winter deck, but it's so beautiful. I just wanted to work with it this month. Just beautiful cards. I love the animals here. A lot of like stags and foxes and owls. Like, look at that beautiful owl. It's a very nighttime deck, I find. Like, to me, this is like a fall winter deck. Just gorgeous, lovely colors. It's so magical. There's some horses. There's even one with a unicorn in it. We've got a blackbird here. Like, it's a gorgeous deck. I just wish there were more of it. There's a unicorn. Wish there were more of these cards. What can I say? And then I love too, not just that it's beautiful, but also we have a keyword here. And then we also have like more keywords on the bottom. So it really gives you something to like sink your teeth into, that you can really work with those cards. One thing that, you know, I don't like with Oracle cards is when it doesn't have keywords, or those keywords don't really mean anything. Like, I have this deck, it's like a Pegasus deck, and I love Pegasuses. Pegasusi? I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's got a bunch of Pegasuses. Anyway, that's not the point. But it'll say like rainbow Pegasus or black Pegasus. Okay, yeah, but what does that mean? Like, it has no keywords. You have to go to the book. And I prefer Oracle decks that have good keywords on them, because I like to go off of Oracle cards intuitively and work with associations. So love this deck for that. It ticks all the boxes, other than I just wish there were more cards in the deck. So definitely one of my favorites for the summer, the Enchanted Earth Oracle. Now, one deck that did not start off as a favorite, And one that I do not like the cardstock on. I have to say, Llewellyn, what's going on with the cardstock? I don't know here. You know, this is the Unbridled Spirit Tarot. Now, you may have seen the unboxing I did. I was a little, like, obviously disappointed in the cardstock, but also, like, wasn't really connecting so much with the art. But I've been working with it all month, and I actually have really been enjoying this deck. So I have really liked it. So it's, you know, your typical Llewellyn box here, you know, with your magnetic closure. I've noticed that lately, though, the boxes are smaller, which is fine with me. I mean, again, I understand that costs have gone up, but I feel like the cardstock is where they've cut back, and the cards are the star of the show. Like, I'd rather have a smaller box or a smaller guidebook than cut back on the quality of the cards. That's just me. It does come with a lovely guidebook. Again, you've got your full color picture here. You've got your meaning over here. So really great. Like, they do such a great job with their guidebooks. Like, I have to say, like, they're great, right? And then you've got your cards here. And I know I've bitched, a lot of people have complained about the cardstocks. I wasn't, like I said, when I first opened it, I was like, I'm not sure about working with this. But now the more that I've kind of like worked with it, I have to say, like, my inner schoolgirl who loves horses has been really enjoying this deck. And I have definitely warmed up to it. I've been enjoying, you know, all the horses on here. And it gives me, like, to me, this is a very summertime deck. It's very nostalgic for me, for sure. I grew up, you know, reading stuff like Black Beauty and reading the Black Stallion series. And I just, who was it? Margaret Henry wrote a bunch of horse books. I loved all that stuff. So, and I still love horses, right? Like, I love animals. I love horses. But I definitely was a horsey girl. So this kind of fulfills my horsey girl dreams when it comes to tarot. So I have been actually really enjoying this, despite the cardstock on it, for sure. So that is there's one more deck that I want to talk about before I move on to books. And that is a deck that was not on my radar in any way, shape, or form. And that is the Teachings of the Stoics. I have the box over there. The box itself is not very eventful. I picked it up, I went shopping, and I went to Chapters, which is kind of like Barnes and Nobles for those of you in the States, or like Waterstones for those of you in England. And they sometimes have like deals. They'll have like cheaper books or decks, and they had a deck that was like $15, like 15 Canadian. Like, you can't get better than that, right? And it's about it's basically just a deck of quotes from Stoic philosophers, right? And I'm a big fan of Stoicism. I should do a whole video talking about it, because I think, unfortunately, Stoicism has been co-opted by dude bros and, like, you know, the whole like podcast, the manosphere, or whatever, and they've totally perverted it, which is terrible, but that's a whole other subject for another day. So it came in a box with a little book. The book is a bit dry. It's very, like, kind of like, here's the history of Stoicism. It's like, yeah, but the cards are the star of the show. So they're not, you know, super flashy. They're just sayings from different philosophers on them. And then on the back, they have like a little explanation of the saying, but I have found it like so helpful for me. Like, I'll often pull one at the end of the day, or if I'm facing a little bit of a dilemma or something, like, it'll often, like, the card that comes out often, like, is like, yep, it either like calls me out or calls out the situation, or is just so helpful. So I'm gonna read one for you just to give you an example. It says, living virtuously is equal to living in accordance with one's experience of the actual course of nature. So that sounds a little convoluted, right? But basically what it explains on the back here is that as human beings, our job is to live virtuously. And if we live virtuously, then we're living according to our nature. When we're not living virtuously, we're getting off the path. And it's our job to live virtuously. And the virtues in Stoicism are courage, wisdom, justice, and temperance, right? So it encourages us to, like, do the right thing. Other ones, let's see here. Let's find a good one here. Look within, for within is the wellspring of virtue, which will not cease flowing if you cease not from digging. So it's like, keep self-examining yourself. Keep examining yourself. Remember that, you know, the answers are within you. Like, it's got like some just really good thoughts here that have really helped me out. Perfection of character is this: to live each day as if it were your last, without frenzy, without apathy, without pretense. So making the most of your life. So just nice thoughts. It's a good little deck. Wasn't on my radar at all, but I am thoroughly enjoying it. And it definitely is one that I've been pulling a nightly thing from. It's just like a good thought for the evening. So unexpectedly found myself a nighttime deck. I've been looking for a nighttime deck for a while. All right, let's move on to books. So one of my favorites, and I did do a review of this already, so I'm not going to go into a whole thing, but I read A Court of Wings and Ruin. I don't have a ton of time for reading, but I have been like reading on like breaks at work and things like that. So it took me a little while to finish this one. But I wanted to get back into fiction last year. And so I started with, I didn't really know where to start. And I used to read fantasy books, so someone kind of suggested romantasy to me, and I thought this might be like a fun way to get back into things because it's not overly serious literature. It might just be fun. Court of Thorn and Roses I thought was okay, but I felt like as the series went on, it got better. And definitely this book is where things really pick up. It's got a lot of action in it. There's a lot of things going on. There's more characters. There's better character development. Like I feel like I'm watching a writer get better and better. And so I really enjoyed this. This was like a fun little adventure to go on for the summer, as long as you don't take it like overly seriously. And then I did read the one after this is quite short. Like this book is almost 700 pages, I think. Where are we here? 703, I think. Something like that. Anyway, 700 pages. And the following book is like 200. So it's weird because it's like a weird little interlude, but I actually did enjoy it. Like the Court of Frost and Starlight. I feel like it does move things forward. Again, I'm going to do a whole review, but I won't review that one by itself. I'm going on to the next one, which is the last in the series, which is A Court of Silver Flames, because I want to see if that little book in the middle is necessary. Like if you really need to read it in order to understand what's going on. But anyway, I'm going to do a whole review, but it's been like a fun, adventurous read to have over the summertime. And so I'm looking forward to the other one to see if it's as good as this one, as I go into the fall. So enjoying that. Another book that I picked up, actually, one of the things I got for my birthday was this past August, well, we're still in August, but it was like a couple of weeks ago. Understanding Human Design, The New Science of Astrology, Discover Who You Really Are by Dr. Karen Parker. So I've kind of heard a little bit about human design, and I wanted to know a little bit more about it. So human design, I think it was invented in like the 70s, maybe 70s, 80s. And it is a combination of astrology, the I Ching, the chakra system, and it's kind of a little bit weird. These is what the charts look like. So that there. So you see you've got all these like weird lines on the body and stuff, and these triangles and squares and things that are supposed to align with different chakras, and there's different gates and things. It's a little complicated, right? I'm still, the verdict's out on whether or not I believe in this stuff or not, but it divides people into like 5 different types. There's like manifestors, generators, manifesting generators, projectors, and reflectors, okay? And most people are either generators or manifesting generators. And then the next biggest group is projectors, and then it's manifestors, and then there's not a lot of reflectors, right? So it kind of, it makes me think of like the Enneagram or like some of these other systems. And then, you've got your 5 general groups, but then you've also got all these different like gateways within yourself and different chakras that are active, and some of them are more passive and stuff. It is interesting. I am keeping an open mind about it. I'm not all the way through. You can see here that that's where I am, but it has been interesting. And in fact, looking at like, I came to it with like, I'm going to have an open mind. You can go and look up your chart for free, like online, and then compare it to like what it says. There's a couple of books about it, but this is the one I picked up. And I thought there were some insights into it. And, of course I did like my husband and the kids and stuff. And it was, I actually thought there were some insights to it. So I do think there's something to it. I'm not like into it the way I'm into like astrology or something, but I think that it is sort of an interesting idea. And I really did enjoy reading this book. As again, I'm almost finished it, but I think it's kind of an interesting idea. Definitely very modern. That's for sure. It's very modern. If you want to know, I am apparently a manifester. So take that for what you will. Apparently, like, we're kind of like the ones who like are more leaders, or more like we just go and do things, right? We're like, I'm going to do this thing, and we just go do it. So that's a manifester, right? And so it was interesting. It was definitely an enjoyable read, and something kind of different, right? Like something new and different that I hadn't read about or done before. So that was enjoyable. I think I might do a video about this, just to talk about it a little bit more and what I thought of the book. And then I was in actually the bookstore yesterday, and I picked this up. I had to, of course. We have Ozzy on the cover of Newsweek here. This is just a special commemorative issue. It's not super thick. I actually like read this in like an hour or whatever. You know, as somebody who like has been a fan of Ozzy Osbourne since I was like a teenager, I bought my first Ozzy album, No Rest for the Wicked, way back in like, what was that, like 87, 88, whatever it was. Yeah, I think 88 maybe. You know, I love Ozzy, and I know obviously a lot about his history and stuff. This thing has just, it's a very quick gloss over of, you know, the history of him, with like, you know, everything from, you know, his childhood, Black Sabbath, his solo career, all the way through to like, you know, the end there where he was, you know, obviously suffering with Parkinson's. But this is the kind of thing I might give to somebody who maybe doesn't know anything about Ozzy Osbourne, or very little, and be like, here's a quick read where you can get a good overview of his life. It does have some like just gorgeous sort of pictures in there. There's like his star on the Walk of Fame with like a bunch of, you know, stuff around it. You know, it's got, you know, it's got some good photos. I bought it more for like the photos and stuff, and because it's Ozzy. So, you know, I had to, right? And they have like, of course, the Osbournes, like when he did the Osbournes show. I think a lot of people that aren't into metal, that's where they know Ozzy from. Have some more different chapters and stuff of his life. So I think it's like really cool, really cute, you know, little commemorative thing to him. And, you know, I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff, so that's what I picked up. But I'm sure there'll probably be some bigger ones coming out soon. I think this was probably put together fairly quickly. But if you see it, you might see it around. And if you're into Ozzy, you know, maybe pick it up if you're interested. So I got that. On to other things. So when it comes to, when I think about things like art supplies or like stationery and stuff, I did order my planner for 2026, but it's not going to come to the fall, so I'll show that later. But I have been this summer doing some photography again. So I have a double major. I have an honors degree in fine arts, and my double major is drawing and photography. So, but I haven't done photography in a really long time, because I did it while I was at school, but then I didn't have access to a darkroom anymore, because I do black and white photography. But now where I work, I do have access to a darkroom, which is pretty awesome. And so for the summer, I thought, well, why not, you know, dig out the old camera and start making photographs again. And just for fun, like I'm not trying to put pressure on myself to make some big giant art project. I mean, I might at some point, but I'm just getting back into it again. So I pulled out my camera. So this camera, this is a Praktica LTL. This is it here. This is an East German camera. I picked this up secondhand ages ago in the 90s when I was in university at a place called Dawn's Photo, which is like a photography shop. And you could pick up like secondhand cameras there for relatively cheap. And I remember showing it to my professor, and he told me it was an East German camera. And he said, these things are built like a tank, and you know, like a bomb will go off and these won't break, right? And it's got a lovely mechanical sound. You can hear it. You know, you hear all the mechanics working. I looked it up. This model's made between 1970 and 1974, so it's as old as I am, and it still works amazingly. The only thing is I've lost the lens cap. I don't know where the lens cap is, so I ordered like a universal cover, but it's too big. So I have to do this. This is terrible. Until I find either a better universal camera lens cover or a proper lens camera cover for it. It ends up being like this, right? So I've been going out and taking photos and going into the darkroom, and I still have my tank for developing film. So I've been developing film, developing photos. I think I might do a vlog coming up maybe in the fall, just talking about that and what I've been doing with that. But it's been so much fun to get back into the dark room. There's something magical about the chemistry of it and these pictures, you know, coming out. And it's so much more magical than taking a picture on your phone. Now, no shade to the phone. I love that I can take tons of photos on my phone, but there is something magical about black and white photography. So really happy about getting back into that. I've also been playing with my band again. We had a show just recently last week, which was really fun. So back into, you know, band practice and all of that. So again, I might do like a little creative vlog. Let me know if you're interested in that. Other than that, this month, I did get some clothes. They're mostly like basics, like stocking up on basics, like everything from, I got some new runners. Show them here. Oh, wait, no, those are the old ones. I've got the new ones upstairs. I just got some new black basic, like Puma, like runners, like things like, you know, sandals or like black leggings, black jeans, things like that. Because my black jeans, they went kind of gray, and I like my black jeans to be black. And I do put them in cold water, and I do hang them dry, but, you know, sometimes they do go after a while. So, you know, just a lot of basics. I also got this little hoodie thing from like, let's see if I can show it here. It's just like a shorty hoodie from like H&M. But it's kind of nice to just stock up on some like essentials. Also, not going to show it because TMI, but I had to get some more bras, right? And the underwire bras, let's face it, ladies, they're not the most comfortable thing, right? They look good, but they're not the most comfortable, right? But there's been more and more of manufacturers coming out with bras that they still hold you up and have shape, but they don't have that underwire. And oh my God, I've been loving them so much. They're so comfortable. Just been loving them. So a lot of just stocking up on basics, and I think that's important, right? Like not everything has to be flashy all the time. Like I like this little sweater because it's perfect when it's a little bit cool. You don't need a jacket, but like just having a t-shirt on is like not quite enough. It's like perfect for that. Other things I got, you know, we're headed towards Halloween season, which, you know, I love, right? Loving the fall, loving all the spooky stuff. So I went to Bath and Body Works, and their Halloween line this year is very kind of cutesy, but I'm okay with that. You know, I like things a little spookier, but I did get this. It's supposed to be like one of those, like the hand sanitizer holders or whatever. But look at him. He's a cute little frog. He's got his little witch hat on and a little spider. And I am afraid of spiders, but this one's okay. And he's got his little hat on, his little tongue out. And you're supposed to put the back in there, the little hand bacteria thing. But I just clip him to my purse, and he's like a little good luck charm. And I just think he's so cute. And I've named him Hermes. And he's just, I love him, and he's adorable. So I got that. I did like, there's a new scent this year called Ice Cream Float. Like ice cream as in like, right? It's got the little eyeball on top there of the float. This is the lotion, and this is the shower gel. And so I'm finishing up another bottle, but I'll use these soon. Somebody told me this smelled like vanilla Coke. But then I smelled it, and I'm like, this makes me think, yes, but it makes me think of something else too. And then someone else said Coke bottles. If you know what I'm talking about, the candy Coke bottles, the little gummy Coke bottles, this is exactly what this smells like. And I am like obsessed. Like I just think it is, I love it. It smells so good. I'm going to put some on my hands right now because I just love this stuff. So loving their new scent. I hope it's one that they bring back, but you know how it is. Like there's certain scents they bring back every year, and then there's some they just do as a one-off. So, oh my God, Coke bottles. I smell Coke bottles. Now I want a glass of Coke. What can I say? Yes, so been enjoying that. Other than that, this summer, you know, this summer I feel like went by pretty fast. I think people say that every year, but this summer, you know, I didn't get out as much as I'd like to, and part of that is the weather here. Some of you may know this already, but we had giant forest fires going on up north, and so it was very smoky. Like it was some days there was like warnings about going outside because the smoke was so thick. The there's like sort of like I don't fully understand this, but there is a scale of like 0 to 10, and it was like off the charts with the smoke. And I know the smoke, even like, people in the States and things were affected, like, because the wind just especially the upper atmosphere will take it really far distances. And so for a lot of June and July and into August, it was really smoky and really hard to like get out and do things. But we did manage to do a couple of things and go out, and I'm going to show you. We went to this place called Fort La Reine, which is one of these sort of museums where they take old buildings and they move them onto the site. So I'll show you a little vloggy of that. So this is Fort La Reine. As you can see, there's lots of older homes that they have here from various eras, although most of them are from either the late 1800s or early 1900s. And they've also got, various farm machinery here. There's lots of buildings. There's a couple of different churches that they have. There's a variety of different stores, so it kind of looks like a little town. And you can go into most of these buildings and look around and see what's inside of them. This one here was set up like it was the 1930s. Has all sorts of different kind of things in the kitchen, and it was interesting to look around, see all this stuff. Up here they had stuff from a Mason's Lodge. I thought that was really interesting that they had all of this kind of stuff. And then this is the inside of a Ukrainian church. So it was really interesting to just walk around and see all of this stuff. I'm trying to think if there's anything else this summer. I think this summer, I've had 3 summers in a row that unfortunately have had deaths attached to them. And this summer sadly was no different. Our beloved cat Ginge passed away. He's her little cutie. He was like 18 years old, our orange ginger cat. He was a polydactyl with like multiple toes. Adorable. He passed away sadly in June. And then a friend of ours also unfortunately passed away in June. So that was very sad. And then, of course, Ozzy Osbourne passed away, right? No, I don't know Ozzy Osbourne or anything like that. But, it's interesting sometimes when a musician or an artist or someone we appreciate dies, it often will remind us of other deaths as well. So in that way, that was kind of difficult. But, it also reminds me to appreciate, all the wonderful music and things we have. Oh, I have one more thing here that I picked up. Forgot to mention this one. So we have a used record DVD CD place nearby, and I picked up this one. I picked up Iron Maiden's Life After Death. This is a live album. It's got like 4 albums into it. So it's great. It's got all sorts of like hits on this, like The Trooper. It's got Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner on it, Power Slave, Number of the Beast. It's got Run to the Hills on it. It's got lots of like hits on this. So really loving listening to records, especially when I paint. I like to put a record on. There's something really lovely and nostalgic for me about a record. So been loving that too. But other than that, I loved though seeing, even though with Ozzy passing and everything, I did watch the live stream of the Back to the Beginning concert, and I'm so glad I did. It was a full day of heavy metal, and it was awesome with so many wonderful bands playing. Everybody from Slayer and Pantera to Metallica and Guns N' Roses, and then of course Ozzy at the end. And I'm so glad I watched it while it was going on, and it was just amazing. And I love music, so what can I say? I'm gonna leave you now with another little just vloggy of like driving through the countryside. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you, of course, to my patrons. You guys make all of this possible. Thank you so much. Thank you to all of those who comment and subscribe and like. You guys are amazing, and I really appreciate you. And as always, I'm sending you peace and love. And